Hi, this is Johan from In-House Tech and welcome to my Martin MPC Quick Start tutorial. In this tutorial, we will open MPC for the first time after a fresh install, and I will show you in 4 steps how to create and run your light show from scratch. The first step will be to set up a simple workspace. In step 2, we will add or patch the lights. In step 3, I will show you how to program scenes and chases. And finally, in step 4, I will show you how to configure and use the playback controls to run your show. Let's do it. Okay, so this is MPC. I just installed it and I booted it up for the very first time. So we will go ahead and click on New Show. Would you like to create a new show? Yes, sir. Okay, let's give it a title. Let's call it Sample. This can take a while to load if it's the very first time you're using it. So this is what Martin MPC looks like when you open up for the first time. It can be a little confusing. There's a lot of different menus here, a lot of different options, and it can be very confusing and you maybe don't know exactly where to start. So I'm going to show you exactly where to start in Martin MPC and create a really simple workflow. But before we do that, I want to go to my menu, and you can also do this, and I want to go to queue settings. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to change all these timing values to 0. This is just going to help us so that our lights really snap when we click it. It's not going to fade in, fade out. There is still going to be some instances where they are going to be fading even after doing this, and I'll show you how to change that in the future. But just to minimize the amount of time that things fade in, we're going to change all these values to 0. So you can go ahead and do that. And it's very important to click apply on this page, otherwise it will just jump back to the original values. So mark Q, we can go 0, all of this, 0 is apply, tap sync, nothing there, Q fade times, everything, take everything to 0. Let's bring everything to 0, guys. This is just gonna make life so much easier, and it's important to do this as one of the first things you do in MPC, because if you do it later on, it will not affect the scenes that you've already programmed. It will only affect the scenes that you program from there on. So let's hit apply, and that's it. That is going to be your first step when you open Martin MPC for the first time. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to create a playback page that we're going to use for when our scenes are programmed, and then we're going to create a program page. So we're just going to use 2 menus here. So the first thing we want to do is we'll click on your MPC menu again and hit unlock screens. Now what we can do is we can start manipulating this page, and we can get rid of all of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the MPC menu, and we're going to click on add window. Now the first thing we're going to add under playback is the playback buttons, and these we're going to add in here. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller like this, and then we go to the menu again, hit add window, and under other we add the command panel. So it's just nice for me to always have this command panel handy, to have it close by. You can also access it by clicking there, but then it will come up over another window a lot of times, and it's a lot of moving around. This way it just has its nice place that it's going to stay. It's always visible, it's always usable, and I like it there. So another thing that you can add to your playback page, if you go to add window, you can add the playback wing. Let me just show you what it looks like. If I can just access it here. This is what it looks like. This is very useful if you do not have an external controller or external desk connected to your Martin MPC, and you can use this to have sliders available. And especially if you have a touch screen, which I actually have, this becomes very nice because Martin MPC is really optimized for touch. You will see that later on. You do not need a touch screen, but it really is a nice to have. I'm not gonna add this to my playback page right now, just because I'm working from my laptop and I really have very little screen real estate. So it's not really possible for me, but that window is always available by just clicking here. That will always be there and it'll open it up. So I'm just maybe gonna have to use it like that because I do not have enough screen real estate. But to me, for a simple lighting setup, these playback buttons are really important. They give you a lot of different playback bangs. As you can see, I can see over 100 here, so I'm just going to leave that here as it is. So what we want to do now, very important, is to right click here on this page or this menu. I'm not sure what you call it actually. The screen, there it is right in front of me. Okay, and I'm going to hit record screen, and now we'll give it a new name. We'll say playback, and we hit OK. It's very important to do that step where you record screen. Otherwise, if you don't do it, let me quickly show you. If I make a change here, so for instance I make this smaller and I navigate away from it and navigate back, the changes that I made are gone. So that will also happen if you do not record that screen. Your changes that you made will be gone. So that's very important. Okay, so we're almost halfway there. I think we're more than halfway there. We're almost done. Your playback screen is ready. So now we will do our programming screen. We'll do over here. So we can close this and we can go MPC. We can go add menu. We can go to the programmer, and let's see what we want here. No, sorry, it's under fixtures, and we're gonna have our fixtures right here. This is where all your lights will show up. You will select your lights here to use them and to program them. That's the first thing we want. Then we go add window, and let's go to programmer. Let's add our fixture parameters. This is handy. I'm going to see how much space I have here. If I have enough space to add everything I want. I may not be able to add everything I want, but we will definitely add the most important things. Once again, add my command panel. Okay, so these three things are the most important things in this quick start tutorial. But I am gonna go and I'm gonna see this is all the way. Yeah, I can see all of it. I'm gonna see if I can add this queue list directory. This is not as important, but it is very nice if you can have it, if you have enough screen real estate. I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to take this down. in this tutorial we're probably not gonna use this QList directory. Let's do that. I might just do that. You can change your screens, you can set it up the way you like. I'm going to set mine up like this for now. I might change it later, but for now this is how I will leave it. As I say about a QList directory, we might not end up using this in this tutorial, but believe me, it's nice to have it here later on when you're going to want to edit a scene you created already. You don't want to there's something wrong with it, but you don't want to recreate it from scratch. You can use the QList directory and you can access all your QList and you can edit it from there. So important, again, right click and let's hit record screen and we're going to say program. All right, okay, let's go ahead and save our show. And that's it for the first step of our quick start tutorial. We are now ready to go into patching in our next video. Be sure to check that out. Thank you for watching this video and I will talk to you in the next one.